All right, happy Tuesday night, everybody. Welcome on into the Hat Creek Interior Studios, custom furniture and accessories. And man, they are bringing customer service back the way it ought to be. Check out their website, hatcreek.us. You don't have to own a ranch to live like it. They got amazing stuff, guys and ladies. Check it out. You're going to be very happy. We got stuff going on tonight. It is a Tuesday, a lot of things. Tech football, Major League Baseball, NFL Chiefs win last night, whatever's on your mind. It's going to be a wide ranging discussion. I have a feeling tonight, but we're going to talk offensive philosophy. The idea of a running quarterback versus a quarterback who can run. My offensive philosophy, your offensive philosophy, people's offensive philosophies. If you don't have a system, you ought to get one. Everybody has a system. So we're going to do all that tonight here in the Hat Creek Interior Studios. All of your comments coming in. Thanks to the great people at United's Supermarkets and Market Street. They're the hometown people that take your money and make great grocery stores and then put their money at Texas Tech as opposed to other grocery stores that take your money and put their names on, stuff down there in Austin. Just think about it for a minute, man. Just think about it. Also brought to you by Lifts West Hotel and Condominium in Red River, New Mexico. We're going to be broadcasting live from Red River next week. Looking forward to it. Ski season right around the corner. Hey, they still got openings there at Lifts West. Call my friend Billy Hurst up. Tell him we sent you. And get ready to have a great late fall, winter, all the way through ski season into March there in Red River. And, of course, Fire and Ice, 4321 Woodrow Road. Grills, check. Yeah, wood, pellet, gas, grills, all that. Outdoor living, cool stuff. I mean, from like big fans that'll cool you down inside of rugged coolers and everything you can imagine. And then all the accessories and supplies, right? Fuel and flavor. What are you going to cook with? And how are you going to flavor it? They've got it at Fire and Ice. Great Facebook page. Check it out. Fire, the letter N, Ice in Lubbock. Let's do the show, shall we? Let's talk a little bit tonight. What's on your mind? In 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, DRaiderland.com. Glad you're with us. They were doing some maintenance or something on the site this morning, so we couldn't do the morning column. I apologize. After last night's 18-inning game in the World Series, the Tuesday's best, we give you a topic every Tuesday, your 2 favorite World Series moments of all time. In your lifetime, otherwise, your 2 favorite World Series moments. Last night gave you one for the ages. Shohei Ohtani, 9 plate appearances on every single time. 18 innings, guys getting thrown out. Did we have bad base running last night or great defense? I don't know. The Dodgers end up winning it. 69% of the time, the team that wins Game 3 in a 1-1 series wins the World Series. They're back at it tonight. And why not? Why would Shohei Ohtani not be the starter? Are we watching what our great-grandfathers and older for some of you were watching with Babe Ruth back in the 20s? Is that what we're seeing here with Ohtani? And I know we can get into the, average, batting average, or whatever. But, I mean, we ain't seen anything like this. It's pretty amazing. So your 2 favorite World Series moments all time. Then I want to get into the idea of offensive philosophy. And it's the idea of running quarterbacks and quarterbacks who can run. I hate running quarterbacks. I love quarterbacks who can run. We'll explain. And yeah, all of this is coming out of the Texas Tech offense really over the last couple of years. And it's not just Tech. I see it all around college football. And I just have a philosophical difference with how quarterbacks are being used right now because you don't have to. And then we ask this question, which is the tougher game for Texas Tech? This weekend at Kansas State on the road, next week at home against BYU. BYU 3-6 under Satake with an open date. That's not really a great number for him, is it? You get him at home. BYU definitely better than Kansas State, in my opinion. But it's been rough sledding up there for a number of years. Does the past matter to this Texas Tech team? Does it matter at all? Anything that's happened, does it matter to Joey McGuire and his coaches or these players? They, for the most part, haven't been up there and lost. They have no memory of bad things going on at Kansas State. So does past history matter at all in the new world order of college football, where there are so many transfers, there are so many new players every year, that there really isn't inherited culture, at least from a negative side, I think. So what do you got? What do you got for us? Let's get it going here on the United Supermarkets chat line. Want your questions, comments, thoughts, and everything else. If I'm not hitting on something you want to talk about, get in here and be sure to go to the Facebook pages and websites for Lifts West. They're in Red River, Fire and Ice in Lubbock, and Hat Creek Interiors, along with United Supermarkets. And tell them thanks for supporting Raiderland. Hold on. Oh, this is horrible product placement. Marketing is going to get mad. All right. So let us begin the show, shall we? Jared gets in. Facebook, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland on Facebook, free. Everybody should subscribe. YouTube channel, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland, free. And on Twitter, X at Ryan Hyatt Media, free. All free. Subscribe to all, never miss a thing. Tougher game is at Kansas State. As long as I can remember, the Little Apple has bit Tech more than once, and not just on the scoreboard. But that gets into the question that we're going to answer: does the past matter? If so, why? Does the past matter to Vanderbilt right now? Jeff, YouTube, thumbs up, like, share. We hit 600 today. We want 700 by the end of the week, 1,000. Favorite World Series moment was taking my son to Game 5 of the 2013 series to see the Red Sox beat the Cardinals at Busch Stadium. If you ever have a chance to see a World Series game in person, do it, he says. That's a cool personal moment right there. We asked about the past. Does it matter to these teams now? Mark on Facebook says no. Doesn't matter. That this team could win just like the 2018. Absolutely. I mean, this team, is this team better than the 2018? I think they are. I really do. I think they are. Are they better than Kansas State? That if you think they're better than Kansas State, and I do, and the betting public thinks they are, and everything else, then really the only thing that you look at is history, right? That it's history. Well, you can't win big games on the road. Conference. Oh, well, you just went to Utah and won earlier this year, right? In a much ballyhooed, hyped up contest, everything about that game was typical Tech in the past. Huge hype around it, everything else, you win. So we get into the idea of the only thing that would be holding Tech back, if you believe that they're actually better, would be either past or obviously a bad letdown performance of some sort that they don't play well. So that's why we asked the question, which one's harder and why? And then why would BYU be harder in Lubbock? Still fighting allergies. My contacts are just riddled with pollen and whatever you can get. Wind howling today, 49-mile-an-hour gust on our Mesonet site at Raiderland Worldwide headquarters at 7:13 this morning. A lot of fun. Get it on the United Supermarkets chat line. So now we get into execution, philosophy, and otherwise. And I do want to hear your thoughts on quarterbacks, because this is an offensive philosophy thought, line of thinking, that I'm divergent with a lot of younger offensive coordinators in college football right now. I get that. But the idea of running quarterbacks versus quarterbacks who can run. What do you like and why? What do you prefer? What would be your style of offense? What would you do? How would you utilize a quarterback? And does it change? Jared, yes, can beat the 2018. This team won't have allowed Texas and Colt McCoy to breathe in the second half of that game. Good point. Defense would have suffocated the Texas offense. Good call on that. You wouldn't have had to have Blake Gideon drop a sure interception just to have a chance to make history with a Crabtree catch. And then we also talked tonight, Tuesday's best. Your two favorite World Series moments, I guess all time or in your lifetime, however you want to do it. The earliest World Series that I can really remember as a kid growing up, like really watching it and everything, kind of tuned in, was 75 with the Red Sox and the Reds. And I was a big Cincinnati Reds fan at the time, Johnny Bench, and just the whole Pete Rose and all that whole thing. And they were on NBC every week growing up in the Panhandle. So that's what you got to see basically was the NBC game of the week. Either you didn't have cable, or if you were lucky enough to have cable, you weren't getting a steady diet of anything really. So that series, the game 6, the Bernie Carbo home run, Carlton Fisk waving it foul on the walk-off, and then game 7 that the Reds end up winning in that one 4-3. That's really kind of my first one. Then, the Dodgers and the Yankees back-to-back World Series, and I was young enough to think the Dodgers and the Yankees, I assume, just played every year, that during that time frame. Baltimore and Pittsburgh, we are family. Big Pittsburgh Pirates fan during that time era. Because if you were growing up in Texas at the time, so if you were a Rangers fan, you knew they couldn't be in the World Series, so you had to have other teams to play, right? Yeah. So those were the earliest ones. Then we go through the 80s, and you have singular moments, right? You have singular moments in the 80s that you remember. So we can talk World Series tonight. Last one, last night will go down in the books, obviously, 18 innings, amazing stuff. And 30, 40 years from now, people will be talking about Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers and what they did, last night during that game and everything else. Where does that rank for you? I don't know how many Dodger fans we have. And it's really hard to try to put Ohtani into, proper frame right now of that we're really watching something that hasn't happened in Major League Baseball. Not since Babe Ruth. That nobody has done anything like what he is doing. Postseason or regular season. Nathan jumps in. Was Fran Tarkenton a quarterback who could run? I'm showing, he was a great scrambling quarterback. They didn't run him. They didn't run plays for him. He wasn't running RPOs and quarterback draws or anything else. But he was a quarterback who could run and scramble and keep the play alive. Much like a guy named Patrick Mahomes, who is not a running quarterback, but a quarterback who can run, extend the play, roll the pocket, and make plays downfield. Do the Chiefs occasionally utilize him off the edge in short yardage? Yeah, they do. But they're not running him 15 times a game. He's not, what was the quarterback's, the last really big running quarterback before RG3, who got the hell beat out of him and, ends up not being a great deal, what was his name? Bobby Douglas for the Chicago Bears in the 1970s. But yeah, Tarkenton is a great comparison to Patrick Mahomes. He truly is. Went to 4 Super Bowls, couldn't win them with the Vikings, but he was a guy who could extend the play, run around, and make you chase him. A better runner than Mahomes, more elusive. And also, Fran Tarkenton, the first quarterback to ever get ejected from an NFL game. Got mad. Was it against Philadelphia? I can't remember what it was. That's a good reference, though. Joseph, Reggie's 3 home run game. Does anyone remember the last home run in 77 against the Dodgers in the 3 home run game? It was against future Texas Ranger Charlie Huff. Jack Morris, complete game. 10 innings, shutout. We'll see you tomorrow. All tag teams should be classified before Joey, after Joey. Most running quarterbacks are because they're bad passers. Let's see what you did there. Jeff, a running quarterback is likely always thinking first of running. I want a quarterback who can run, but I mostly want a quarterback who can see the field and what's available and make a good decision. Run, hand off, or pass. I would submit that Billy Joe Tolliver was a great quarterback. He would be a great quarterback today. He was a great quarterback in the mid to late 80s at Texas Tech. And me and Billy Joe could have had a race, and it would have been close, and I wasn't fast. I don't like running the quarterback in this day and age. Now, what has changed from, say, the wishbone, the stack eye of J.T. King with John Scoville, the wishbone, the pure wishbone of the late 60s, early to mid 70s, and everything else. What's changed is the defensive linemen and the linebackers are a hell of a lot bigger and hurt you. Now, were they big and strong back then? Yes. But a lot of the quarterbacks were some of your bigger, stronger athletes at the time, and they could kind of go toe for toe. Think about Bill Bradley. Bill Bradley was a quarterback at Texas before going on the defensive side. It just is insane to me to put your quarterbacks in jeopardy running them anywhere from 8 to 12 to 15 times a game in college football now. If it's such a good idea and a plan, they do it in the NFL. They don't. There's a reason. And the whole, it was a renaissance of sorts coming out of the I formation of the 80s and 90s. With, teams like Nebraska still running the midline option. But moving away from that in the 80s to a stack I, power I, or a pro set. And then we flipped back in the early 2000s into what we called a zone read, which is really an old single wing play, wing T if you want to call it that. And you had some guys, that could, RG3 would be one. Oh gosh, I just blanked out. University of Texas. Come on, national championship. What the hell? I just totally blanked out. And offensive coordinators over 20 years ago started falling in love with that. Then they fell in love with the spread. Then they fell in love with the zone read. Then they the zone read went to the RPO, run pass option, which by the way is illegal because every time you throw it, the linemen are downfield. But all you did is to start to re-expose your quarterbacks into getting hit every play for no reason. And it's dumb because I think quarterbacks today throw the ball better than they've ever thrown the ball. That receivers are better than they've ever been, and running backs are pretty good. So to sit there and take really the least talented piece, a lot of times on your offense, I mean, is Baron Morton or Will Hammond a better running back than Cameron Dickey or Jacoby Williams or Hill? No, they're not. Well, but they're hard to account for because when you put the numbers out there and the hat on hat, and we can do, they're going to get nailed. They're going to get hit. They're going to get hurt. It's hard enough staying upright just as a drop back passing quarterback. Which gets us back to the idea of a quarterback who can run, not a running quarterback. The quarterbacks that are really good are the ones who have escapability in the pocket, can extend the play, get to the second play, as we call it. There's the play called, there's the second play when it breaks down. I don't need you to run for 15 yards. I just need you to run for 5 yards to get out of the pressure, step up and throw a dime down the field. That's what I want out of a quarterback. It becomes philosophical. So as you see me criticize sometimes the play calling and everything else of Mac Leftwich and did it before, even at times with Kitley. Well, Kitley, I really just hated the bubble screens. But I believe that we're at a time now where the philosophy ought to be with your quarterbacks getting hurt all the damn time. How about you not expose them to unnecessary hits? Tom Landry had a great line going into the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 13, I think it was, against the Steelers. I think it was 13. I don't think it was 10. And a reporter asked him, how many plays do you have designed where Roger Staubach runs? And Landry shoots back, we don't have any plays designed where Roger runs. He runs just fine on his own without them. That's Patrick Mahomes for the most part. That's your escapable quarterbacks. So, yeah, I don't like zone reads and RPOs. I don't like exposing your quarterback. That in an era where depth, and you're just damn lucky at Texas Tech that you have or had Will Hammond and you have Griffiths to go with Morton, you're just damn lucky. Most places aren't. And it shocks me that more head coaches don't come around to this line of thinking. Because I'll say it again, as college football and pro football mirror each other more and more, why don't you see pro football teams running zone reads and RPOs all the time? Oh, they'll run them every now and then. I mean, a smidgen. But I mean, the Baltimore Ravens, 3 Super Bowl championships. The Bills have the other 3 running quarterbacks. Let's go back to the United Supermarkets chat line tonight. Bobby Douglas, yes, Bobby Douglas with the Chicago Bears. I don't know that he ran for over 1,000 yards in a year in the early 70s. I want to say he had like 700 or 800, maybe. Maybe he went over 1,000. I'm trying to remember. A. David Collier, not D, on Twitter. At Ryan Hyatt Media on Twitter, David Collier. Talking to John Kurtz this week, it seems Avery Johnson has turned into a quarterback that can run compared to what we saw a few years ago. We are going to have John on this week. I'm trying to get him to get in with me on times. But yeah, Avery Johnson can fling it around pretty good. I don't know, if you were able to see a little bit of that Kansas game the last 2 weeks, they've kind of gotten a little bit back to a guy who can run but do other things. Mark, yeah, I'm a Dodgers fan. Reggie Jackson, known as Mr. October. The straw that stirs the drink, baby. Robert Delgado, Notre Dame and Texas Tech, the first two football teams left out of the college football playoffs. Well, remember you said that. And he's a Notre Dame fan, by the way. Tech would be left out if they are, if they're not in the Big 12 title game. If they go undefeated, they're in the Big 12 title game. They're going to be in the college football playoff, whether they win or lose the Big 12 title game. If they're not in the Big 12 title game, they're probably left out. Didn't they try to put Aaron Rodgers on Jeopardy? Again, not playing to his strengths. Mark, Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale. I assume that's talking about your favorite World Series memories. My Lord, how old are you? Sandy Koufax, 89 years old at the game last night, 60 years after he won game 7, I believe, for the Dodgers against the Twins. Thank you, Vince Young. I could not get Vince Young out of my brain there, and I apologize. Vince Young was the king of the zone read in the early 2000s there with Mac Brown in Texas. And all that was literally was an old single wing type play. It truly was, where your quarterback was basically a halfback. It was a Frank Gifford style play of the 50s and early 60s. And what was really interesting about Vince Young is for him, that last year in college, I think he completed 63 or 64% of his passes, but they weren't very long. And I really thought he was going to have more success in the NFL because I thought with his completion percentage at the time, they would move him away from being a running quarterback, that he would become a quarterback who could run, but that had shown pretty good accuracy his last year in college. Certainly never worked out, never translated. But everybody thought they'd have a Vince Young or an RG3. They ain't lying around. Gentle brutality, trademark. If Tech wins out but loses the Big 12 title game, they'll still get a playoff bid. Yes. Believe that 100%. And still maybe like the most likely scenario is if Tech wins out, you get maybe Cincinnati as an undefeated team. Maybe. Texas had James Street and Eddie Phillips in 1969, talking about running quarterbacks. The early days of the wishbone. Really, it was a triple option before they really went to the wishbone full time in 70. There with Texas and Oklahoma and Nebraska getting into the bone. Gentle brutality. I'm not sure they'll win in Manhattan this weekend. They should with Morton healthy, but they won't if they play like they did Arizona State. They won't if they block the way they did against Oklahoma State. If the offensive line, and quite frankly, the unwillingness to embrace the running game and establish the run game and protect the quarterback and throw play action and do stuff like that, if they don't do that, gentle brutality, great handle there on YouTube, they will get beat. If they played the same game they played offensively the last 2 weeks, they will lose at Kansas State. Mark, Rodney Allison was a good running quarterback. Well, and he ran more of a split back, kind of a Houston veer, what we called the Houston veer back in the days with Bill Yeoman, with the two split backs and a wing back and moving that around. Tech really didn't run a lot of bone action with Rodney Allison in 75, 76, 77. ran more of that split with Steve Sloan. But he was a really good running quarterback who was also a really good passing quarterback. And you know what happened with your really good running quarterback? He got hurt his senior year against A&M running the football and broke his ankle, and it totally derailed the season. And you end up going to the Tangerine Bowl that year. Anybody without looking, can you tell me who Tech played in the Tangerine Bowl? They lost, and who was the coach on the other side who got his first major bowl victory? Big Red Machine, yeah. Talking about favorite World Series memories growing up, all time. Again, Reds, like they were on your TV screen every Saturday in the 70s with NBC. Joe Garagiola and Tony Kubak here at Cincinnati's, what was it? Riverfront Stadium. Jeff gets in on YouTube. Ohtani has lived up to the hype when he first arrived. I hated it before he even played an inning here. I now have to begrudgingly acknowledge he's the best player in the modern era post Willie Mays. I don't have an argument against that. I mean, we could sit there and say maybe sometimes the average or whatever, that Willie Mays' average power, speed, and everything else might trump the offensive style, and I would say that, of Ohtani. But he pitches. He pitches. Now, Willie Mays might come back if he could and say, well, if I'd known I needed to pitch, I could have done that too. I consider Willie Mays the greatest baseball player of all time until further notice. Remember the Reggie Jackson 3 home run game? 66. What was that in reference to other than my son's number for the Ropes Eagles? Collier, KMAC 28 sports director. Oh, gosh, it's late. Yeah. You're not even on the air right now. It was cool to see Kershaw come in and get the Dodgers out of bases loaded jam last night. Were you really up still, or were you playing Minecraft? Jan was in love with Sandy Koufax as a fan. So was Billy Chappell. Wasn't Georgia Tech. Now, you had to look it up, I have no doubt. Yeah, it was Bobby Bowden's first bowl win at Florida State in the 77 Tangerine Bowl. So that's why that was kind of interesting. Collier swears he was watching. Yeah, actually, you probably were. The Odd Couple on Fox Sports Radio whining about intentionally walking Ohtani, whatever it takes to win a title, right? I don't get the complaints. Yeah, I would have walked him. Absolutely. Are you kidding me? You got to pick out one or two guys in a lineup every day and say, they're not going to beat me. The series he's having, absolutely you walk him. Whatever you got to do. Take the call. I knew Bowden too. Yeah, because you probably heard me mention it before. Tech needs to schedule Florida State sometime just to get a win on them. You know, I think they're 0-2. Went out there and played when Dion was there. Was that 87 or 86 or 87? I'm trying to remember which year it was. Do you walk him to lead off the game tonight? I wouldn't walk him to lead off the game. But in any leverage situation on down through the night, yeah, I'd probably walk him. You know, why not? He's going to be the MVP, right? That the Dodgers, 69% of the time, the team that wins game 3 when it's tied 1-1, they win the World Series. He's going to go out tonight, strike out like 9 or something? He's going to get the MVP. Short shot on that. All right, we've had a lot of fun discussion. I've enjoyed it. I love talking offensive, defensive philosophy, history of offense, evolution, and everything else. I'll say it again. If Texas Tech wants to win the Big 12 and go to the college football playoff, don't run Baron Morton a single time again. I don't want to see him run anything. other than he's running for his life because the pass protection is bad. That's it. He can throw the ball. You have two guys that are really good running backs. They can run the ball. You have a bunch of guys out there that are receivers, some of them wide, some of them inside, and you can throw it to them. That all Baron Morton has to do is stay upright and make plays. He doesn't need to make it with his feet. Every single time they run Baron Morton at Kansas State or against BYU, I think it's just criminal negligence. And I mean, if I were the head coach, I'd fire my offensive coordinator right there. Give me the headset. You're done. We're not running the quarterback anymore. You understand? I don't care. Well, we want to put them in a situation to be successful and play to their strengths. And, we have this offense and no. 7-1 right now. Too much at stake. You can play around with the goofy ass little quarterback runs in the spring or whenever you want to, but we're not going to do that anymore. Do you understand? The running backs will run. Quarterbacks will run play action passing. They will drop back. They will throw. We will run screens. We'll do everything. We will not run the quarterback. Am I clear? Am I clear? Thank you. Thank you. I felt it was a good show. I want to thank everybody who was a big part of it. Really, everybody really contributed tonight. We felt good going in, felt good coming out. 600 subs. That's really a testament to you folks. Nothing I'm doing. I just want to thank everybody who's hit that button and clicked like and share and, hit sign up. And, it's a team effort. It's a total team effort. We're just going to, God willing, be able to come back in the morning, do a good column. What if Wednesday? We're just going to take it, one column at a time, and then come back tomorrow night and do the best show we can with what we got. And really, Jeff, I think that's where we are right now. We're just trying to play to the strengths of everything we've got. And, we understand we're lucky to be able to do this. We really are. We're fortunate. We're lucky. A lot of people wish they were in the position we're in. So we're going to try to maximize that going into tomorrow and hope that folks will like what we're doing and share it on the internet. And put it out there on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, and do whatever they can. But we're just really fortunate. It's just a total team effort. And there's no I in team, but there is an M and a me, and that's freaking me. All right, we'll see you guys later on. You can hit us on Twitter at Ryan Hyatt Media, on Facebook Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland, and YouTube channel Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. I got to hit this button. And then one more. Oh, I didn't show off the shirt tonight. This is one of my favorite shirts. Here you go. End of the NASCAR season. There you go. That was about 2013. I think they're at Texas Motor Speedway in the late great Eddie Gossage Wild Asphalt Circus, baby. Love that shirt. I had a nice pearl snap earlier, but I realized, oh, crap, that was the one I wore on the rewind on Saturday night. I can't wear that tonight on the show, so I got to mix it up a little bit. Time to go to the dry cleaners. We'll see everybody in the morning. TheRaiderland.com. We'll catch you tonight on Twitter at Ryan Hyatt Media. Thanks for being a part of this whole thing. And remember, we're just taking it one show at a time.